भगवान श्री योगी रामसूरतकुमार की सर्वं योगी रामसूरतकुमारार्पणमस्तु। We must have done lots of meritorious deeds over janmas to have come across a great Mahatma like Bhagwan Yogi Ramsuratkumar, and still more meritorious deeds to have got this name, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, for invocation. We know how this Nama comes to our rescue in times of difficulty. How it helps, guides, and protects in different ways, in different situations, with different devotees. In fact, Bhagwan had said, you don't even have to be a devotee. When you are in difficulty, just call out this beggar's name, Yogi Ramsuratkumar. My father would rush help to you. Now we got 1 hour of chanting this beautiful name together right in the shrine of Bhagwan. We shall offer our gratitude before we offer our prayers of the day. And this name, Bhagwan often said, it gives us strength, and continuous repetition of the name will make us sattvic. But even little chanting of the name will give us enormous strength to face the challenges of life. This is what Bhagwan advised one businessman who had come from Shivakasi to visit Yogi Ramsuratkumar Bhagwan at Channadi Street House in the early 80s. This businessman was broken-hearted. His heart was broken because he had lost so much in the business. He did not know how to handle it. He was stupefied. All that he knew was to rush to Yogi Ramsuratkumar. And Bhagwan said, however busy you are, make it a habit to chant the name, the divine name, any divine name that appeals to you for 15 minutes without fail, and you will get enough strength to face the difficulties, the challenges of your business life. 15 minutes, concentrate on the divine name. You must be vigilant that no other thoughts enter. Hold on to him desperately. Hold on to the name and chant. In pronouncing the divine name is our salvation, is our relief from all the sufferings. And then Bhagavan went on to say, 15 minutes to manage, because people are very busy otherwise. But one has to keep on chanting the name as much as possible, and if possible, all the 24 hours. Continuously. Why? When you chant the name, you invoke the presence of God, you invoke grace, and the grace protects you from all negative forces. But then the negative forces are waiting for their chance. And whenever you forget the name, even if there is a little gap, it gets its opportunity to enter and start its work. A little weakness, the tongue wanders, talks about this thing and that thing so busily, as though it's very, very important for life. People talk politics for hours, The mind wanders, the tongue wanders. Bhagavan said once, even if the mind wanders, it doesn't matter. Let not your tongue wander. Let it be fixed on the name. You don't have to have devotion. Even if you don't have devotion, even if you don't have concentration, even if you don't have faith, it does not matter. But chant. Chant the name, chant the name, chant the name. The life is run according to our past karmas. That's why we get joys and sorrows. They alternate in life based upon your own past karmas, what you had given to people in your last birth. If you have given love and seva to people, now there will be people ready to love you and serve you in this birth. If you had only irritation at the slightest provocation to offer to people, for no reason at all, you would be getting irritation from other people. And then you would wonder, why? What did I do? I didn't do anything. I hardly opened my mouth and this man is pouncing on me. Why? Why? Because you have done it to somebody. And that somebody would have suffered. And that suffering has to come back to you. And so is with good karma. If you have one good word for somebody or about somebody, be sure it will come back to you without fail. Get the name of God. Keep on chanting, chanting, chanting. Those are the times when you forget the negative forces are ready to enter and start their work. So when you were saying this, I remembered when I was reading this, because this was in the early 80s, I remember once when I was working in Saradha College, I used to come for Bhagwan's darshan. I was kind of obsessed. It was an obsession with me. I had to come and have his darshan. I just could not do without. So once when I was rushing, I used to have a shoulder bag, and then I would put the money also, sometimes even without purse. But I always constantly carried a lamination which contained Bhagwan's hair, which I had picked up when I sat there in that veranda or when he took me inside. You could find them, one or two here and there, shining. And that's how I carefully collected some. And I had them laminated and I was carrying it around. So that day also I had put that and that money and boarded the bus. But then, and I was chanting the name right from the moment I started. I came up to the bus stand, and then in those days, the buses were few and far between. So when the bus came, there was a rush, a big crowd, and I was caught in the middle. And somehow, in my effort, I forgot the name. I was busy getting inside, jostling. People are pushing and jostling, hitting, stepping on your feet and whatnot. And somehow I managed to get inside because I had to go. I had to go to Thiruvannamalai for his darshan. I just couldn't do without it. So I came and to my relief, I found a seat and I came and sat there. And when the conductor came for the ticket, I put my hand into my bag, the shoulder bag, and only the hand came out. And there was nothing at all. Somebody had clean cut it, pickpocketed. It was very disturbing, and I didn't know what to do. Then I showed it to the conductor. I said, look, I need help. And luckily, as always, by His grace, it is no luck, it's grace. Somebody known to me was there, and they came forward and they bought the ticket for me. I had kept some 1,700 rupees there because I needed the money for something in Thiruvannamalai. So to my horror, I found the whole thing missing. It didn't matter, I had to go, I had to rush for his darshan. Anyway, I reached there in time, and Bhagwan allowed me inside, pointed out a seat. And then seeing the way I was, he asked me what happened. And then I said, Bhagwan, I was chanting your name, and the bus came. I got inside, it was very crowded. And then, to my dismay, I found that everything, the money and whatever I brought, gone. Somebody had pickpocketed. Then Bhagwan said, oh, you were chanting this beggar's name? And then you lost it. You lost everything. Oh my God. You should not chant this beggar's name. You just see what happened. Chanting this beggar's name has led to this. You have lost everything. Because I was also thinking along this line. My God, I was chanting right from the moment I started. And why didn't the name protect me? And suddenly it flashed that I was so busy making effort, my own effort. Had I been lost in chanting His name, somehow easily they would have pushed me inside without much difficulty, and probably this pickpocketing would never have happened. Instead, I forgot the name and made my own effort, somehow competing with other people. I was bent, focused upon getting inside. And Yogi Ramsuratkumar was all forgotten. It is only when he was pointing out that you should not be chanting the name. You see what chanting the name has led to? And that's when it flashed that those were the moments I had completely given up Yogi Ramsuratkumar, depended upon my own effort. And I was competing with other people, just like other people. I was no different from them. Then I apologized. I said, Bhagwan, it's not true. I had forgotten your name as soon as I saw the bus. I was so excited. I ran and joined the crowd in pushing and hitting and somehow managing to get inside. I forgot your name, and that's why it happened. As soon as I said that, Bhagwan burst into laughter. And then there was a strange expression on his face, and he raised his hand and blessed me. Because he was pointing out that only to make me realize the truth that when we forget the name, something negative can happen according to our fate. Whatever is meant to happen will happen because the Nama is not protecting. Nama is not there to protect. And then I said, I was feeling terrible, not because I lost the money. He asked me how much was there. I said 1,700 rupees. Oh, such a big amount. That was okay, Bhagwan. I know I wouldn't get it. It's difficult to find. But he had taken something very precious. I had kept your hair. I had picked up here some hair over the years, and I was keeping it with me and I was taking it around. Wherever I went, I would take it with me. It was you coming with me, and I lost it. And to the man, to the thief, it just wouldn't matter. It's hair and he would throw it away. And I lost it. I feel terrible. And then Bhagwan, again there was a strange expression on his face. And then he raised his hand and blessed me for some time. And then he said, I will pray to Father that you get it. It sounded as though I was going to get what I lost. So after he left me, I went about. Some people said, you can, this is nearly 2,000 rupees, you can make a complaint in the police station, this and that. But I could not bring myself to do all that. But I was trying to find a conductor, and if he knew somebody there in the bus stand. There was absolutely no way I could get it back. But why did Bhagwan say that? By some miracle, I should be getting it back. And there was no way, absolutely, I could get it back. But then, after 7 years, when he came to stay in Sudama, I picked up so much, people could still see it, kept in the vessel, in the abode. His words came true. He said, I will pray to Father that you get it. I got much more than what I lost. So the words of a Mahatma, the words of Bhagwan, will never fail. When I said this, after some time, Bhagwan said, you know, this beggar also lost his money, everything once, just like this. This beggar was making his first journey. This beggar had taken long leave in the school where he was working, and then he was going to come to the south in search of the Guru. There was this train there in the station, and when this beggar was trying to board the train, suddenly there was a lot of crowd and they were pushing. I was caught in the middle. I could not come out, nor could I go in. And then the crowd behind me, 15, 20 of them, collected the last minute. They were pushing me inside. So somehow I had to get inside. When I came and sat there, the TTR came and asked for money for the ticket. And then I found that when I put my hand into the pocket of my shirt, only the hand came out. He said just the same sentence, only the hand came out. Everything was pickpocketed. But then those people around were very kind, and looking at me, they said, don't worry, we will manage. And then they bought a ticket for this beggar. And then he said something. This beggar realized, this beggar was starting a spiritual journey, a pilgrimage. This beggar had bought a ticket, kept money, because this was security. This beggar thought money was security and had kept it. And when this beggar knew that it was lost, this beggar thought it was Father's instruction to this beggar not to depend upon money as security. When he said that, I realized what I would have done. The first time we are starting somewhere for some very important reason, and then something like this happens, immediately I would take it as an ill omen. And then I wouldn't attempt it at all further. Either I would postpone it or not attempt it at all. This would have been my natural reaction. But just see the way his mind was working. He took it as God's command. He took it as God's will, with specific instruction to him. And of course everybody knew how he travelled penniless. He could not buy tickets. He travelled ticketless, penniless. So this is the difference between the mindset of a Mahatma and ordinary people like me. Bhagwan once said, the higher the interpretation you put upon any happening, the closer you are to God. The highest interpretation that he put was, God was saying, money is no security. You cannot start a spiritual journey depending upon money, with the security of money in your pocket. So this vigilance is very important, that we have to be aware all the time. Life as it flows comes according to the will of God, and whatever happens at any moment is the best that can happen to us. And we should never interpret it as something negative. Because if we cannot chant the name all the time, invoking grace, there will be gaps. And during the gaps, our past karmas will start working. It cannot be helped until we reach a stage where the nama goes on its own. So what do we do? What is the next choice? Then you interpret. Bhagavan says, the higher the interpretation you put upon any happening, the closer you are to God. If you reverse it, the closer you are to God, the higher will be your interpretation upon any happening. So the highest interpretation that you can put upon any negative happening when your past karma catches up with you is, it's God's will. Now this is happening according to the will of God, and therefore this has got to be a definite grace. Anything that comes from God can only be a blessing. So if we learn to accept it as a blessing from God, then the mind would not be disturbed so much. There may be initial disturbance, but once you understand that it is the will of God and whatever is happening is grace, it's necessary and therefore it's happening. And if you start to interpret like this, every happening of your life, be it a joy or a sorrow, you are getting nearer the truth, you are getting nearer God, because this is the truth. Whatever life brings to you, be it a joy or sorrow, happens according to your past karmas, but they are coming according to the will of God. God has designed the whole life. If we cannot remember God all the 24 hours, the next best thing is to practice giving a higher interpretation to everything. The highest interpretation is, it's a blessing from God. It's happening by the will of God. And be happy with it. It could not have happened any other way. Remember what Bhagwan said? From moment to moment, whatever happens at any moment is the best that can happen to you at that moment. It's from God. And it's meant for your spiritual growth. So let us remember this again and again. When Bhagwan was telling this businessman, he also said to people around, you see this vigilance, not leaving any gaps if possible. He said how Maya is very vigilant, waiting to get inside. And then he said, in Ramayana, people know Kaikeyi, the stepmother of Sri Rama, Bharata's mother. She was all the time focused upon Sri Rama. Rama was her primary delight. All the time, she was rejoicing in the thought of Rama, and life was going okay. And when she heard that Rama was going to be the king, and this ceremony was to take place the next day, when the news came to her, she felt so happy. She was overwhelmed with joy that her beloved Rama was going to be the next king. And then you just see her servant maid, Manthara. She came and said, "Why are you so happy? How stupid you are. When Rama becomes the king, his mother Kaushalya would be the queen, and you would be treated like a maidservant. You think you would get all this respect from people, all this honor from people? Your son has to do seva to Rama, and you will have to do seva to Kaushalya. Why are you rejoicing? Stop it. Think practically." The beginning she was trying to resist when Kaikeyi, Manthara said all that. Says, "What are you talking? Stop it. Stop this nonsense." But then when she began to see Maya, how it enters, her thought of Rama was beginning to shake. And then slowly, Manthara entered. Rama was gone and Manthara entered her heart. And what happened next was history, never to be forgotten. So Bhagwan gave this example how Kaikeyi was tempted, had fallen prey to Maya and raised in benediction. And the grace is ever flowing. Bhagwan has said, those who enter this ashram will not go empty-handed, whether they are aware of it or not. This is the truth. My Father's blessings are raining upon them, those who visit. This is the truth, he said. So let's appeal, let's offer our prayers at his feet. Bhagwan, we seek your immediate divine intervention to stop the spread of the disease,